This is the help video for Unit 4, Proportions and Percentages, Practice Problems, and this is Part 1. Go ahead and get out a piece of paper. You need to know how to work these. You are going to see these problems again, and you need to know how to solve them to be successful for 7th grade and on LEAP, as well as the Unit 4 test and the Unit 4 post-assessment on Illuminate. If I'm going too fast at any time, pause the video. All right. Let's go to the first problem. Diego made 6 boxes of spaghetti to feed 20 people for his dinner party. Next time, 50 people are coming. How many boxes of spaghetti should Diego buy? Okay, we need to know how many boxes he needs to buy for 50 people. Well, the first thing we need to know is a unit rate. How many boxes per person? So, boxes divided by people. Okay, that's 6 divided by 20. And I set it up this way in case we ever need an equation. We know the B would come first, then equals your K, and then your P. All right, so 6 divided by 20. 6 goes in the box. 20 goes outside. We need a decimal. It goes straight up to the top. 20 cannot go in 6. 20 does go into 60 3 times. 20 times 3 is 60. And now we have our unit rates of 0.3 boxes per person. That means for one person. But we need 50 people. So now we're going to multiply 50 times 0.3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 5 is 15. We have 1 decimal place in the problem, so we need 1 decimal place in the answer. And our answer is 15 boxes of spaghetti. And there is the first question. All right, let's move on to question 2. Remember, if you need to write stuff down, you need to pause the video because I'm going to clear after the screen after each question. All right, next question. Read the story problem below and determine how many dogs the neighbor has. Enter the number of dogs below. Elena is feeding her neighbor's dogs. Each dog gets 2/3 cup of dog food, and she uses 3 1/3 cups of food. How many dogs does the neighbor have? So we can use this in a division problem to find it. The reason why is we've got a unit rate right here. 2/3 cup of food for each dog. Okay, so we need to know the number of dogs, so we're going to divide 3 1/3 divided by 2/3. All right, second divided by the first there. Now, the first thing I need to do is make that a improper fraction. 3, keep the same denominator to get the new numerator. You do the denominator times the whole number plus the top. 3 times 3 plus 1 is 10. Divided by 2/3. We don't divide by fractions. We do keep, change, flip, or we multiply the fraction by its reciprocal. So keep, that should be a 3. Let me change that to get myself a eraser. Change to multiplication, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, flip. Multiply straight across the top. 10 times 3 is 30. Straight across the bottom, 3 times 2 is 6. 30 divided by 6 is 5 dogs. So the answer is 5. Okay? All right. So we did division of fractions to get that answer. I'm going to clear the screen, so if you need to pause, please do so. Next question. Read the situation and determine how many cups fill each bottle. Hint, it's a unit rate problem. That means division. All right, we've got 5 and 5/8 cups of water. Fill 4.5 identical water bottles. How many cups fill each bottle? Tells you here what to divide. Cups divided by the amount of water bottles. Okay? Cups by bottles. All right. So we're going to divide cups by bottles. So that's going to be 5 and 5/8 divided by 4 and 1/2. We need to make these improper fractions first. We keep the same denominator to get the new numerator. The denominator times the whole number plus the top. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 5 more is 45. Divided by, keep the same denominator. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. We don't divide by fractions. We do keep, change, flip, or we multiply by the reciprocal, which is a flip. So we keep the first fraction the same. We change to multiplication, and we flip the second one to multiply by the reciprocal. We multiply. Now, if you're doing it the long way, and I'll do it the other way over on the side to show you the way to factor it out and shorten your multiplication problem. If you know your multiplication tables, this is a shortcut. The long way, 45 times 2 across the top is 90. Across the bottom, 8 times 9 is 72. Then we would divide the top and bottom by 9. That leaves me with 10 over 8. So I would do another 2. And that would leave me 5 over 4, which I need to make into a mixed number, which I will do in a minute. Over here, the short way, I know that 9 goes into 45 and 2 goes into 8. Okay? Remember, you can divide and get rid of numbers. 9 goes into 45 5 times. That would leave me with 1. 8 and 2. I can take 2 out of 8, leaving me with 4, and that would be all gone. And across the top, I have 5 times 1, which is 5. On the bottom, 4 times 1, which is 4. So both ways. And over here, I could have divided the top and bottom by 18, but a lot of you may not have known that 18 went into both those numbers. So instead, I did 9, which was obvious. Then I had even numbers, so I used 2. All right, we need a mixed number. 5 goes into 4 one time. 4 times 1 is 4. We subtract. Our remainder is 1. That is the top of the fraction. And we keep the same bottom number or use the one that's outside the box. 1 1/4 cups, which is B. And that is our answer. So make sure you've written this down. Go ahead and pause the screen if you need to write down the work because I am going to be clearing the screen. So pause if you need to write it down. All right, next question. Select the answers equivalent to the expression below. All right, let's write this down. This is the distributive property. 0.05 times the group x minus 40. Parentheses mean multiply. When you have a number that is next to parentheses, there's no addition, no subtraction, nothing in between, that means multiplication. And you must multiply it to everything inside the parentheses. So there are 2 ways to do this. One, by showing you multiplied it to everything inside. The other way is to use boxes. All right. Remember, when you have x by itself, there's always a 1 in front of it. We just don't put it. So 0.05 times 1x gives me 0.05 x's. Same thing over here. 0.05 times x gives me 0.05 x's. Now I got to do the next one. 0.05 times 40. And we can do that out the long way. 40 times 0.05. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 4 is 20. Okay? I already know that I need to have 2 decimal places. You really don't need to do your zeros up. You could if you want. Okay? But you could also just go down here and put this answer there. All right? Either or is going to give you the same thing. 0.05 times 40 gives you 2 minus 2. Here you get 2. So that is your answer right here. If you're using the box, you take the answers, use the same sign there. 0.05 times x minus 2. The reason most people miss these is they don't multiply it to everything inside the parentheses. The distributive property means distribute or multiply to everything in that group. So let's go down. It is going to be D. D. So if you need to write these down, please do so. You can use either method to solve the distributive property, either the boxes or arrows. But you need to use your paper. These are going to get harder once we have negative numbers. So make sure you learn to do them while we got positives. All right, I'm going to clear the screen. If you need to pause, please do so. To the next question. All righty. Diego pours 6.8 ounces of water from a full bottle. He estimates that he poured out 20% of the water in the bottle. About how much water was in the full bottle? Okay. I see 20% of, which usually means times, but there's no number here. But we do have a number before. So remember, if you see 20% of something and there's not a number, you use the opposite of multiply, and we're going to divide. So that's going to be 6.8 divided by 20%. We need to make 20% a decimal. It's right here behind the number 1, 2. So it's 0.2 divided by 0.2. So remember, if you're doing this the long way, 6.8 goes in the box. 0.2 goes outside. Can't have decimals on the outside number, the divisor. Got to move them. I move this 1 to the right. I have to do the same thing inside, 1 to the right, leaving 2 outside, 68 inside. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 2 times 3 is 6. We got nothing left over. We bring down our 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. There's our answer. The full bottle is 34 ounces. 34 ounces. All right. We need that number for your next question. So make sure you've written that down. Next question. Diego pours 6.8 ounces of water from a full bottle of 34 ounces. Then he pours out the 25% of the remaining water. About how many ounces did he pour out the second time? So we have of the remaining. We need the remaining water, people. The remaining water. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is see how much water was left. Okay. Pause this for a second. So it means we need the remaining water, and then we can just make a multiplication problem. So we know we started with 34 ounces. And he already poured out 6.8. So we need to subtract to get our remaining water. I'm going to put a point and a 0 there. And I'm going to subtract. I can't subtract. I need to borrow from the 4 and make it a 3. 10 minus 8 is 2. Remember, in addition and subtraction, your decimal lines up and comes straight down. I need to borrow from this and make it a 2. 13 minus 6 is 7. And we bring down our 2. So that's the remaining water. 27.2 ounces is our remaining water. And it says he pours out 25% of the remaining water. So that's going to be 25% of 27.2. So now we've got a multiplication problem. The first thing we need to do is make this percent a decimal. The decimal sign's behind the number, 2 to the left, 1, 2. 0.25 or 0.25. So this is what your multiplication problem looks like. 27.2. So I'm going to do that out the long way. So I need to move a few things to have some room so you can see. So what I'm going to do is go back here, get my eraser, erase this real quick so I have this side to do my multiplication the long way. You don't always get to use a calculator on this section. So you need to know how to do this multiplication the long way. So we have 27.2 times 0.25. So we multiplied like there's no decimals, and at the end we count our decimal places and put them in our answer. All right? That's what we do to solve this. So we're going to get started here. We've got 5 times 2, 10. Carry the 1. 5 times 7 is 35. Plus 1 more is 36. So we put our 6, carry our 3. All right? Next, 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 3 more is 13. Now we go to our next number. And when we're at second number, we start right below it. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. All right. We've got our 0. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 4 plus 3 is 7, and 1 more is 8. 1 plus 5 is 6. All right, now all we got to do is put our decimals. We go back up to the problem. How many decimal places do I have? 1, 2, 3. I have 3 decimal places in my multiplication problem. I need 3 in my answer. Start at the end. 1, 2, 3. There's our answer. 6.8 ounces is what he poured out the second time, the 25%. 6.8 ounces. All right, make sure you have that written down, especially if you need to do it the long way. And for those of you just whipping out that calculator, pay attention. This very likely could be in the no calculator section. So you have got to be able to do the multiplication and division of decimals without a calculator. All right, I'm going to clear the screen, so make sure you pause if you need to write anything down. All righty. Use the information below and select the number line that represents this situation. To solve the problem, 56 is what percent of 70? Noah uses the double number line below to solve this instead of doing it the long way. Okay? And they want to know which of the following has each tick mark correctly. Let's go look at what they're doing with the ticks, and that's going to make it a lot easier. And in fact, you're going to see this in your study guide, and you're going to have to mark your ticks. So when I look at the percent, each tick goes up by 10. So when I go back here, I've got 100. And if I subtract 10, that leaves me with 90% at that tick. And 90 subtracted by 10 leaves me with 80% at that tick. All right? Now, what are they counting by on the top? They're counting by sevens. So I can go to the end and subtract. 70 minus 7 gives me 63. 63 minus 7, you borrow. 13 minus 7 is 6. Bring down your 5, 56. Now, before we start, the 70 was at 100% because that was our whole. That was our whole number. Because it wants 56 is what percentage of 70. So we know 70 was the 100%. Now we can get the answer from this. Okay? All right, let's go find out if our tick marks are right. So we need 56, then 63, 80%, then 90% on those ticks. Let's look at them. This one's got 80 and 90, but it has 14 and 21. Nope. This one's got 25 and 35. 27, 35. Nope. This one has got 42 and 49. Nope. 56 and 63. That's correct. Let's go to the bottom. 80% and 90%. There's the tick marks we were looking for. And to solve that problem, you look where 56 is, and it's at 80%. So the answer to that question was actually 56 is 80% of 70. But this is the correct tick marks. And we're done. So make sure that you have written down when you're done with this part 1, you go on to part 2. There is a help video for part 2, so continue to use your scratch paper. Use it on the problems you're struggling with, and this is going to help prepare you for the unit test next week and the quiz tomorrow. Good luck.